Hello everyone, this is Sinead and I'm coming to you with Cozen, a Bloody Painter X reader by A Poisonous Lie. We're going to be starting off with chapter 29. To think this is how Helen decided to push you away. Your fingertips made their way to your neck, the feeling of his hand almost reaching you to strangle you left you with shivers down your spine. Just thinking about it made you feel scared. What was going on in his mind to make him do that? You weren't sure, but your mind couldn't think straight at all. You weren't sure what to do anymore. You were standing in front of Helen's doorstep again. You didn't tell your mother about what happened. She knew about Helen being taken away by the police, so that was enough to make her think that Helen was nothing but another bad apple. You knocked on the door once, twice, and waited for a moment for someone to answer, but nothing. He was either gone or didn't want to answer, and his parents were always absent from what you knew about Helen's relationship with his parents. You sighed and walked back to school, scared of whatever this day was going to give you. Finally showing up to your first period, you were late, but your teacher wasn't present at all. You sat down on her chair, quietly waiting for someone to come up to you, like always, expecting something to happen. Did you hear Miss Anderson quit? You couldn't help but hear a few whispers from two students that were talking to each other. Apparently she was getting paid to not report anything. She was literally covering for a student and not get reported to the principal. A few gasps were heard from each other the way more they talked. You assumed the student Miss Anderson was covering for would be Tom, since the last time you tried talking about him, she dismissed you almost too quickly. Most probably Tom's parents talked her into not getting Tom in trouble if he did anything. They would have done anything to clear Tom's name in any situation they would hear about. But after his passing, students have started more rumors about Miss Anderson deciding to quit right after the incident. Maybe she didn't want to be involved in more trouble or the parents to come after her. It's finally lunchtime. You spent your time eating your food peacefully under the tree you usually stay in. It was oddly peaceful even though students were still talking about you and Helen. You stopped chewing your food when somber thoughts about Helen appeared in your head. That stare he gave you yesterday still left you with a feeling of horror. How in the world did you think that going to his house was a good idea? Ryan? A voice calls out your name. Your eyes slowly look up to see who it was, and to your surprise, Annie was standing right in front of you. Even after Annie dropped her food on you that time, you somehow admired the way she looked, the way she would style her curly black hair however she wanted, and the way she dressed, how her beautiful brown skin would look under the sun, complementing everything about her. You couldn't help but look at her for a good minute sometimes. Do you mind if I sit next to you? She asks politely. You only nodded in response, and she carefully sits down and looks at your food, her hand making her way to fix her curly buns from her hair. I'm very sorry about what happened with Tom and Helen, she says. You only looked at her from the corner of your eye. You only played with your food in an uninterested manner. It's all right. It already happened, you responded, sadness in your voice, but you tried your best to keep your composure. You know, I'm sure Helen didn't do it, she says. He never seemed the type to do such a thing. After what Annie said, your head quickly turned to her. You were surprised that she also thought the same thing. You also think Helen didn't do it? You ask, hope in your eyes that maybe another person was thinking the same thing as you, probably on your side. Yeah, after all, I used to be friends with Tom, so I knew some stuff about him, and how manipulative he was, too. You couldn't help but look away, feeling a bit guilty for thinking bad of Annie. She even apologized to you before, because Aiden helped. I almost ended up like Aiden, with no friends and only depending on that single person. That is, until I found a new friend who opened my eyes. She laughed softly, her dimples making her smile more graceful. You only smiled back a bit, still feeling bad about Aiden. You couldn't help but frown once again, just remembering how messy everything is right now. Have you tried talking to Helen? Annie asks once again, trying to see if you made any progress on your end. You were quiet for a moment, of course. You weren't sure if you could tell her what happened yesterday with Helen. I went to his house, and he pushed me away, you responded. He told me he didn't want me near him. You couldn't help but feel a pain inside you hearing those words. Helen pushing you away, everything hurt. Annie looked sad about it, too. He didn't mean it, I'm sure of it, she quickly responded. Your eyes met hers once again, and you could see some hope in her eyes when she told you that. I know people can say some hurtful things, but they don't mean it, because they're heated in that moment. Don't give up on him. Ryan, just keep trying to talk to him, okay? She reassures you, putting her hand on your shoulder to at least give you a small gesture of comfort. You couldn't help but smile and hug her quickly. After these days of ban and other students harassing you, this bit of comfort with Annie was enough to make you tear up again, feeling happiness again that someone was there for you. Annie was surprised, but she gladly returned the hug, rubbing your back with her hand in a comforting manner. Chapter 30. Hey, Ryan, Annie trailed off for a bit when she let go of the hug. I know it's very soon to say this, but there's going to be a party in a few days in the school dorms. Of course, they told me not to invite you after the whole thieving incident and stuff, but you're always welcome to join me. You were surprised at this. You, of course, didn't want to join due to the fact that you really didn't have the energy to do anything, not after what happened with Helen. Judy is the one who's throwing off the party. It's going to be before Halloween, so I'm not sure if you wanted to join me. I've also asked Aiden a few days before, but I don't know, she says, rubbing the back of her neck. You stayed silent for a second, putting some thought to it. If Annie invited you, then why not? I'll think about it, Annie. I just need some time to recover, and I need to check on Helen too, so... You responded a bit shy, trying not to be rude. She understood, though. She just nodded and smiled. I'll check on Aiden for you. I'm not sure if he's going to show up, but I really hope he's doing okay, she says, a lot of worry in her face. Days passed, and you kept on checking on Helen, but every time it was either a no response or his parents answering for you and telling you that he doesn't want to talk to anybody. You sighed as you still endured the pain from Ban. Your hatred towards him grew bigger after he crushed your only special memory that you held from your dead best friend. That necklace meant more than anything. And even if Helen gave you that necklace, those feelings towards Ban would have been the same. The fact that Ban told you Helen would be better if he was dead threw you in such a wrong way. Wishing death on somebody was never the right thing to think about. So him insulting your friend made you more angry. And after a few days, you finally see Judy. She would skip classes just to escape from Miss Anderson's scolding, but once she heard she quit, she showed up more. Once she started to be more present in the classroom, she noticed your presence, and she made sure to let you know that you weren't wanted in here. You couldn't help but get up from your seat and walk towards her, slamming your hand on her desk, putting Ban into alert as he also got up, her eyes looking up at you, and she brushed her hair with her hand. Where in the world have you been? You suddenly disappeared after accusing my friend of stealing, and I'm sure you knew it was someone else. You say, eyes glaring at her. I don't know what you're talking about, Judy responds as the corner of her mouth slightly twitch, her eyes making eye contact with her other friends who were snickering. It wasn't only her accusing your friend of stealing, it's her still announcing a party after someone died. It's not only that, Judy. You have the audacity to still announce your little party to the whole school after someone died. What goes on in your head? You were cut off by none other than Ban, who decided to push you away from Judy's desk. Back off, Wyan, or do you want another round? He asks, ready to fight you at any moment. All of you are disgusting. You yelled at every single one of them. You made up to your mind, even if Annie invited you, there was no way you were going to attend the stupid party. It felt like celebrating someone's death. You walked away only to hear laughing and mocking from the other students, making fun of you for standing up and trying to call out Judy. There was nothing you could do. Though as you turned to the corner, you stumbled upon a boy, a familiar boy. You look into those brown eyes, and there he was. Aiden was finally here. You were in shock, the corners of your mouth twitching. You frowned, and yet you smiled as tears were coming out of your eyes, so happy to see Aiden in person. Aiden! You yelled his name happily as you wrapped your arms around him. He slowly returned the embrace. Hey, Ryan, he responds softly. He sounded so tired and sad. You pulled away to look at him. The way he looked at you reminded you so much of Helen, the dark circles under his eyes and the red bloodshot eyes. He looked so pale, too. Aiden, how are you feeling? I'm feeling tired, he responds rather quickly. He also saw the bruises you had on your face, his face showing shock and worry. Ryan, your face. You quickly back away, trying to brush it off. I'm fine, don't worry about me. You try to change the subject. The fact that you're seeing Aiden again made you happy. Look, I've been trying to get in touch with Helen, but he's not responding. I don't know what to do. Aiden only stayed silent. His eyes were empty for a second at hearing his name. He looked terrified. I'm sorry, why are you trying to talk to him? Didn't he kill Tom? He asks, a little bit shocked that you were looking for him. You, on the other hand, you were taken aback by the fact that he thinks he really killed Tom. Aiden, he didn't kill Tom. I can assure you it was an accident. You respond, trying to defend Helen. Aiden backed away a bit of tears coming out of his eyes. How would you know? You weren't there, he retorted. Of course you couldn't help but frown. Well, you weren't there either, you respond back a bit defensively. A few students saw what happened, but others decided to not listen and just believe Helen killed Tom. You tried to explain. You saw more information about it. Students saw the commotion, yet nobody listened to them. Because the others just simply wanted to believe that he killed Tom because he was portrayed as a stealer from the beginning, and these students wanted to taint him with more bad reputation. Aiden stayed silent as he looked at you in disbelief, but he simply shook his head. I'm sorry. Tom was right. You're only defending Helen because you like him, he says in such a disappointed tone. Helen murdered someone that I cared about. I genuinely thought you were going to stop defending him after I told you about his weird behaviors, and now look where it got him. For the first time ever, you saw anger in Aiden's eyes. You realized how he decided to side with the others instead of you. He didn't let you finish talking. He just walked away, leaving you by yourself in the empty hallways, his footsteps slowly fading away. That was the end of that chapter, or those two chapters. The chapter after that one is chapter 31. Let me know how you guys feel about that, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Until next time, bye-bye.